What's up, YouTube, and welcome to my video for the games I picked up during November 2016. Pretty light month of pickups, but I did get a few games I was really looking for quite some time, so we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to talk about Sega systems first, and some games I got for the Sega Genesis. So the very first one of these is a game that, surprisingly, I've never owned in my life, and that is the original ToeJam and Earl. I have owned the sequel for a long time, didn't really care for it, so I was kind of willing to try this. Don't know if it's going to be up my alley, but got a nice complete copy of it this month and decided to finally go for it. So looking forward to trying that out very soon. And the rest of the games I got for the Genesis were actually upgrades from games I had cart only. So now these have the boxes. I still am looking for manuals for these. These were games that there's an eBay seller that sells just the loose artwork for Genesis games, and really good prices compared to trying to just track down a complete box. So if you can get some spare boxes and then buy the artwork separate, it actually works out pretty well. So the games I got boxes for this month are Shining in the Darkness. Nothing really a special game there, but one of the early Sega titles. I got box for Super Hydalide. Again, not really a great title. Toxic Crusaders. I actually went back and started playing this cartridge this month. This game is pretty terrible, but I did think it was kind of interesting to have a game based on a trauma movie on the Genesis, so that's about all I can say about that one. And the best one of these I got was a box for Flintstones by Taito, which is actually the last game I need the manual for Genesis to have all the Taito games complete. So if you know where I can get a Flintstones manual, I'm very interested. That being said, this game is pretty much like the Flintstones NES games and the Super Nintendo game in that it's not really that great. So, cool looking box art though. I got one game for the Sega CD, and this is one of the QuickTime event games that Data East originally released as a Laserdisc arcade game. This is Cobra Command, and of course, like many Sega CD games, it hasn't really aged that well, but if you like QuickTime event games, it's not too terrible. So, just always wanted to get this game. It was pretty cheap. And next we'll talk about my primary system I've been collecting for lately, which most of you that watch my videos know, and that is the PS1. So I got 3 more games off my list for the Black Label Jewel Case variant set that I've been chasing. I'm about, I think, 11 titles away now from having all of those. Some of these are just really, really hard to find the Jewel Case versions of. So I'll show you these. The first one of these I thought was actually going to be really easy to track down, but this one was actually a little bit difficult. This is NBA Shootout, the original one that Sony put out themselves. And of the Jewel Case variant games that are Sony sports games, this one, for some reason, seems to be by far the hardest one to get. So, very happy to get that one off the list, and didn't really cost me too much. Next one, again, is a very deceptive sports game that you would think would be very cheap, and really isn't. This one is it is cheap. You would think it would be easy to find. It is not easy to find. This one gave me quite a challenge, and that is PGA Tour 96. This one, again, who cares? But if you're going for the set, you need to find these. There actually are 2 more EA Sports Jewel Case variants that I'm really having a hard time getting, and that is FIFA 96 and NBA Live 96. So if you have a lead on those, again, please feel free to let me know. And the last one of these Jewel Case variants is probably the most interesting of those, and that is Battle Arena Toshinden 2. The first and second ones were Jewel Case variants, the third one just came out Jewel Case only. So they look better on the shelf if they all match, and that's one of the reasons why I go for the Jewel Case variants versus the long boxes. So that was the last of those. Next I'm going to just show you the additional PlayStation games I got this month that weren't really part of a subset or anything like that. First one of these is one that I've heard tons of great things about, and I'm pretty excited to play this, and that is the original Clock Tower. The only Clock Tower game I've actually played is Clock Tower 3 on the PS2, and I need to get the second one also for the PS1, but heard a lot of great things about this game, and really excited to finally get this one. I got a very cheap racing game. This actually was part of a buy 2 get 1 free sale, and I just went ahead and picked this as my free title, and that is Roadsters by Titus. This game also came out on the Dreamcast, and it is pretty bad on the Dreamcast, so I wouldn't expect this one to be too great either, but decided to grab it just because it was free. Another series that I've never owned a game in that I've heard a lot of good things about, I just don't know if I have the patience to play these, and that is the Armored Core series. This is Project Phantasma, which I think is one of the better rated ones, is one of the PS1 games. So maybe I'll get into this. It's early From Software game, and I know the series has a lot of fans, so looking forward to checking it out. Another one I was interested in is a cheap title here, Sorcerer's Maze. This game was released late as a budget title, and it's kind of like an Arkanoid style, paddle-based game. So, interested in checking that out, and, I typically like these, so hopefully that'll be okay. I got another one of the many Wipeout clones for the system, and that is N2O, or Nitrous Oxide. This was one of those games that came out during the peak of the electronica era, where you could just say, just like this game does, that it has a soundtrack by the Crystal Method, and people would buy it. So, very interesting period in the late 90s when people were into that kind of stuff. I got a kart racing game, of which there's plenty on the PlayStation. This is what I've heard is okay, and that is Speed Punks. One thing that's kind of cool about this one is it does support 4 players split-screen racing, which, is not too common for many of these games. So, hopefully this one's pretty good. Sony put this one out themselves. Another game I was surprised I didn't own until I looked at my shelf recently was the second Spyro game. This was the last one I needed in the series, and nice to get a first print run of that game. A game I've been looking for a really long time that I have never played, but was kind of interested in just because it's a Jaleco game, is this one, and that is Dragon Seeds. And seems to me like this was kind of capitalizing on the Pokemon original popularity, but the spin it put on it was that, unlike Monster Rancher, which used any CD in your music CD collection to create monsters, this game uses PlayStation memory cards to create random monsters. So you could swap in all the different memory cards in yours and your friend's collection and create all your monsters and battle them and do all that fun stuff. I really doubt many people actually did it because this game didn't do very well. It's really a challenging game to find, and I don't know, I might check it out, but really just wanted it because it was Jaleco more than anything else. Another Jaleco title I got this month is K1 Revenge. Nothing I really care about too much there. This was actually the first one they put out. They did a second K1 game also, so I do have that one already, but I wanted to get the first one. Another game I was kind of surprised I didn't own too is this one, and that is Bust-A-Move 99. I, of course, have this game in other formats. I have Bust-A-Move 3 on the Sega Saturn, which is exactly what this game is. So why did Acclaim choose to call it Bust-A-Move 99 when they were publishing it for Taito? Well, that's because Natsume had already released Bust-A-Move 4 on the PlayStation, and I guess it would seem kind of silly to release the outdated game afterwards, so they just renamed it. Yeah, these are one of the many, many reasons why Acclaim is out of business. Also, check out that horrible artwork with Bub and Bob on the front. Anything Natsume put out during this era using those characters looked way, way better, so unfortunately this is just one, that Acclaim didn't do a nice job for the Taito franchise. Another game that I've been looking for a really long time and finally just got a price that I thought was reasonable on it was the Misadventures of Tron Bonne. This is the last of the Mega Man games, series games that I needed for the PlayStation, and it comes complete with the demo disc and everything like that, which is what I was being a little bit picky about. It seems like a lot of them people threw out the demo disc, so very nice to get this title off the collection list just because this is one of the more expensive games for the PlayStation. I wouldn't say it's rare, but it's just like got the Mega Man tax on it that people just pay a lot of money for these for no real reason. So definitely nice to get that off my list too. And the final game I got for the original PlayStation US at least is this game, Kinsai's Sacred Fist. My understanding is this is Konami's version of Tekken, early 3D fighter for the system. Don't really think it did that well, but I decided to grab it just because you don't see it too much. I got one game for the Japanese PS1, and that is this game, Magical Date. And this I found out through a YouTube video of some really funny footage of this game. So it is a dating sim themed minigame collection is the best way to put it. This game got its start in the arcades, and basically you play a ton of just very, very wacky Taito minigames to then have a scene with the girl and try to impress her to take her to the carnival or whatever. Really, really, you do not need to know Japanese to play this game because the minigames are just, wacky controller exercises. But obviously if you wanted to understand the dating sim questions and all that, you would need to learn Japanese. But you can enjoy this game totally without needing that. So it also has this pervy camera mode where you can take panty shots and whatnot, and yeah, whatever. This game is very, very cheap, and if you're just curious, I would definitely recommend picking it up. I got it from Japan for like $8 shipped, so just curiosity, and I like wacky Taito games, so I decided to grab it. Another imported game for a PlayStation system is this game. This is the one PSP game I got this month, and that is Gunhound EX. I was chasing all the shooters on the PSP about a year ago. I really am surprised this game didn't fly under... It totally flew under my radar. I don't really know why. It's not so much of a shoot-'em-up, but more of a Assault Suit Lanos type game. It's faster paced than those games are, and that's one thing I really liked about it. The only thing I didn't really care for is there is a ton of characters talking between each other in the different mech suits, and the text bubbles pop up all over the screen, and it kind of gets in the way of the action. So if there's a way to turn that off, I would love this game way more, but as it is, it's pretty fun. Nice boss battles, good, clean, simple graphics, and I don't know, kind of a secret game for the PSP that really doesn't go for a lot of money, and it's kind of fun. So I'd recommend checking it out. I got one game for the PS2, and that is this game, Yanya Kabbalista City Skater. This is one of those games when Koei finally just like lost their marbles and started making games other than ancient Chinese military sims. They had this weird period where they were putting out stuff like this and Gitaru Man, and I don't know what was going on. These games were not successful, but this one interested me because it comes with this crazy big box, and it has this fingerboard controller that you snap onto the PS2 controller to control all the skateboarding action. So also was part of the time period when everything was cel shaded, and I don't know. I mean, it's not really a great game. I was trying it out, but kind of an interesting curiosity in the PS2 library. I would say it's really hard to find in the big box with the skateboard still intact. Most people just opened this up and kept the typical PS2 DVD style case, threw this out. So doubt it'll really be worth a lot of money, but just wanted to grab it in the big box. I'll talk about some portable games I got this month. So I got games for the Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance, one each, and all of these were complete in the box. First one of these I just stumbled on at a local store, and it seems to be something that would be very tough to find complete, and that is the original Harvest Moon for the black and white Game Boy. This was one of the last games released on the original Game Boy, so I decided to go ahead and grab it. And yeah. Next one is Warlocked for the Game Boy Color. This was a first-party release. I don't think Nintendo themselves developed it, and I haven't checked it out yet, but it was very cheap, so I couldn't really pass it up. And the last one of these is a series I have a couple other games in. I don't have them all by any means, but this is Summon Night 2 Summon Night Swordcraft Story 2, whatever, however that works. Just another one of the Atlas series games, so nice to get the complete copy of that. And the last portable game I got is for the Sega Game Gear. This is another import. This is a game I've been looking for many, many years, and this is one of the unusual portable games, of which there's a few, that were started out as originally as arcade games and never got a home console port other than the portable version. So this is the Berlin Wall by Kaneko. Very interesting single-screen platformer type bobble style game. And it's a lot of fun. If you like games about the fall of communism in Germany turned into a cutesy puzzle platformer game, you would love this. Very, very strange theme, but a lot of fun. Kind of combines some like Dig Dug style elements to the puzzle action fun. So can recommend this game if you can get it cheap. And yeah, interesting title for the Game Gear. This was supposed to come out in the US, but got canceled for some reason. So easy to play without knowing Japanese. I'll talk about some games I got for Nintendo systems, and then the rest of the video is going to be non-game items I got. So I got one game for Super Nintendo, and it came with the manual, and that is Phantom 2040. Very, very cheap, and just was curious if this would be any good. It is not. I was playing it a couple nights ago, and very, very lame, but whatever. I didn't lose too much money on that one. It was cheap. I got a couple games for the Wii. One of these I just picked up a couple days ago, so I haven't got a chance to try it yet, and that is Octomania. This is one that always kind of caught my interest. I just never picked it up, and it's kind of a Japanese PS1 / Saturn era puzzle style game is what it looks like, arcade puzzle action game. Not really something you would have seen too much in the era that this came out, so it's what kind of interested me about it. But it's got some strange story about octopi and takoyaki and stuff like that, so hopefully that'll be okay. The other game I got for the Wii is something I found for $2 and figured I might as well just go ahead and grab it. It is Mario Kart Wii. I've never owned this game. Always was a big fan of the early Mario Kart games, but I lost my interest somewhere around the N64 era, so never tried this one until now, but maybe I'll give it a shot. Got a couple other things for game-wise, or game-related this month, but no other games. So, first one of these I was very excited to get, is a very nice condition manual for Sega on the Genesis. So I now have this game complete. This is one I've wanted complete for a really long time, and very happy to get that. I got 2 controllers this month that are both kind of different for sure. One of these is the Sega control stick for the Sega Master System. Interesting that it has the joystick on the right, the buttons on the left for one, and also just the shape of this joystick is obnoxiously weird. It's got a really smushy feel to it, so I highly doubt I'm going to use it very much, but this was a first-party accessory, so I figured I might as well go ahead and check it out, and you definitely don't see these too often. I also got a wacky controller for the PS1 that I probably should have owned a long time ago, just never got one of these at a decent price until now. So this is the Namco Jog-Con, which really is only built to support a few games. It works with Ridge Racer Type 4, works with Ridge Racer 5 on the PS2, and maybe that's it. I guess the Ridge Racer bonus disc that comes with Ridge Racer 4. But what it is a strange analog controller with this wheel in the center, and it has force feedback where the wheel will kind of fight you as you're playing it. It's definitely a unique experience, and I really wish more of the racing games of the system supported it, because it's an interesting controller. So, very nice to get one of these. They did make a big box version of this that came with Ridge Racer Type 4, but I've never found that very easily, unlike, other than online. So, decided just to go ahead and grab the controller loose. Last thing I got for the month was some game magazines, and one of the things that I've been tracking down is issues of this magazine, Flux Magazine. These came in a very short period in the mid-90s. They only released 7 issues, and I'm going for a full set of them. Really like these. I think I talked about them in a couple other videos, but they're a little bit more mature writing than the Game Pro and EGM of the time, while also being kind of Beavis and Butthead-ish at the same time. The articles in these are actually very good and definitely different than what you saw in most of the other game magazines of the time. They featured things like top 100 list of games at the time, which had very strange choices, things that you definitely wouldn't have seen in your boilerplate top 100 list. Also interviews with people like Matt Groening of The Simpsons fame that revealed some stuff about him I'd never heard of before. So they tried to cover video games, comic books, and alternative music all at the same time, which in the mid-90s this would have been a huge hit with me. I wish I would have known about this magazine when I was that age. So yeah, I'd like to get the rest of these. They're actually really fun to read, and I think they hold up pretty good today compared to a lot of these other magazines of that era. So speaking of the other magazines of that era, you have things like this very early issue of GamePro, which if you want to play a drinking game, I would say count the number of exclamation points inside of this magazine. You would be dead. It's ridiculous. They end every sentence with an exclamation point, and every game is awesome. So definitely a step down from the writing quality in Flux. We have a mid-90s period GamePro here. Another mid-90s period GamePro here. Haven't read those yet. And a mid-90s period EGM. So definitely like to pick up old game magazines when I can, especially if they're not too much money. They're definitely good, if nothing else, than for the ads in them. There's a lot of funny ads and just good timepieces that are in those. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this video. That's really all I got for the month. Like I said, it was a little bit of a light month. Hopefully have some better finds in December to share with you. And please take a moment, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think, and have a great day or night wherever you are. I will talk to you soon.